And good Wednesday evening, ladies and gentlemen. It is Wednesday the 27th, 7 o'clock, time for This Week in A.B.A.T.E. We are hoping to do these broadcasts once a week, every Wednesday at 7 o'clock, with the exception of Tuesdays. In the first week of the month is when you will find these. The first Wednesday, we've got a conflict, so it'll be the first Tuesday of the month at 7 o'clock, and then every Wednesday thereafter. I'm Josh Witkowski, State Legislative Coordinator. Joining me via Skype is our Public Relations Coordinator, Chris Hansen. He'll be joining us here in a few. Real quick, just wanted to bring you up to speed on the latest news here in Illinois. We're going to talk about what's going on down at the State House, what's happening down with the trip that we just got back from Texas, talk about some of our lobbying efforts here, and some of our local chapter events. So going from there. So the latest in Illinois, we put out a MailChimp, a email alert, which if you're not on there, go to our Facebook page. You can sign up directly from there for our legislative alerts about the new Speaker of the House. And just as soon as they elected a new Speaker, they left town. We do not have any meetings going on with the legislature. They were supposed to meet in February, but the latest that we're hearing is that February is canceled with the exception of one day. February 10th, they're going to be meeting to discuss the rules. Not a whole lot going to be happening legislatively for the month of February. So we're going to take that time to continue to analyze bills that have been filed, file a few of our own, and hopefully get some traction for some virtual hearings, because we are hearing that there are going to be virtual hearings involved with legislation this year, both in the House and in the Senate. So with that said, the next thing that we've got going on, coming up later this month, or later in February, I should say, is ABATE S.T.E.E.L. This formerly was known as the State Seminar. It is a large gathering, used to be a large gathering. It's not going to be so big this year, courtesy of COVID. We do have some restrictions on it. We're going to work through those restrictions, but it is an opportunity for you to meet ABATE members from around the state of Illinois and around the Midwest. We do believe we're going to have a couple people coming in from out of state to join us. We're going to be covering different topics such as the future of transportation, social media and how to use that. Chris is going to be talking about that. I'm going to be covering grassroots organizing and tools that we can use as a grassroots organization. We also are going to have discussions on legislative tools used to keep the politicians in order. We're going to have discussions about the board of directors. I mean, while it seems kind of dry material, there's really good information in here that not only can you use as a member of ABATE, but will help you personally and professionally as well. The people that do the training are some of the best people that we have on this stuff. So I highly recommend that. The other benefits to ABATE S.T.E.E.L is that you get to meet members from all around the state, and you get to ask them, hey, what's working in your chapter? You get to have that coordination between one another. Make some really good friends, really good contacts, and it's not all just learning. We do have a party Friday night. There is a party Saturday night. And things can get kind of interesting. That's all I'm really going to say while we've got something out here in the public. Feel free to email me if you want to know more about that. Speaking of events, I am going to move on to our State Public Relations Coordinator, Chris Hansen, and he's going to discuss the events that are going on around the state of Illinois. Chris, take it away.
Thanks a lot, Josh, and hello to A.B.A.T.E, Illinois out there. So a couple things I want to start off with is reminding everybody that you can find us on social media platforms, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, obviously. And last week I was talking about the chapters that were, joining up and joining us on these social media platforms. And I realized when I was covering Twitter that I did miss out on one, so I want to apologize. But Will County chapter of ABATE does have a Twitter, so you can find them on there as well as Facebook. So definitely get on there. But one thing I do want to stress this week is join, or go and subscribe onto our YouTube channel. There's a few things that we can do once we've gotten a certain amount of members watching, and it is something valuable that you can share on your social media. So if you have not yet, get over to YouTube and subscribe to our page. So going into events happening around the state, and I'm going to usually limit this to the month ahead. So following up on Josh, yeah, definitely make it a point of steel. When I was at the BOD meeting in December, there's a lot of discussion amongst the BOD reps about camaraderie and seeing other members and seeing other chapters in that, united front. So why would you not be at Steel? That is a prime opportunity for everybody to, have that camaraderie and be with other members and chapters and see what works. And like I said last week, it's you're going to get a class from Hunter John on off road, and Ryan Hubbard's going to run a president's meeting, and Josh is going to be talking about grassroots and legislative. I'll be covering what I keep harping on all you chapters about PR and social media and the importance of it and how to work it and why it works. So this is definitely not something you should be missing out on. Everybody should be getting registered for this. It's a huge deal. So February 26th and 27th, ABATE of Illinois S.T.E.E.L, get registered. Going into local events, we talked about this one a little bit last week. Pioneer Gateway chapter has got their ABC run going. If you don't remember what that is you make stops at businesses or locations that start with each letter of the alphabet, and you take a picture, you turn it in, and that is how you participate. It started the 9th of January and goes all the way through the end of this year. So make sure you get going on that. Then you go into the Will County Cabin Fever Party. That is happening in January on the 30th, this coming Saturday. That starts at 6 p.m. The dinner does, and there's going to be live music by Warpath. So make sure you've got that on your calendars. Then going into February 6th, Thunder Rock ABATE has got a bowling night at T-Bird Lanes in Rochelle. $7 for 3 games. Go out and get some bowling in and have some fun with that. Then also on the 7th, Shoal Creek ABATE has got a chili cook-off. That's at the Vandalia Moose Lodge. Starts at 1 p.m. till whenever they're done. Definitely there's prizes and all that for that. Different classes, mild, medium, and hot. So go out and do that. And then going into the 20th of February, Central Illinois ABATE has got their Cabin Fever Party. That starts at the pub in Galesburg. And then also that night, A.B.A.T.E Valley has got their chili cook-off. That's at 2 p.m. So realistically, depending on how fast you drive, you can make both. But yeah, they've got their chili cook-off and broomstick pool tournament over there in A.B.A.T.E Valley. That's in Tuscola. So check that out on the 20th. And then finishing up on the 27th, Pioneer Gateway, again, has their 4th annual Illinois Derby Mouse Races. That's starting at 7 p.m. and it's $5 for the whole night. So you can't really go wrong there at the Owls Club in Elton. So make sure that you're getting these on your calendar, helping spread the word. A lot of what I'm going to keep talking about, at least during my term here, is that we can't be a state level and 49 separate chapters. We have to be one and the same in a united front. So supporting each chapter in their events and getting out and helping spread the message is definitely going to be a part of this. So I am hoping this is working out for you. As you get more events and you have flyers or you get more into your social media, please keep me updated on them so we can get those out to the other chapters. And to those that have responded and bought into, having the same message and getting out there, I appreciate it. That is all I've got this week. So, Josh, back to you.
Alrighty, thank you very much, Chris. We greatly appreciate the update on what is going on out there with regards to A.B.A.T.E of Illinois and our local chapters. Next thing up, if you were following around the page over the weekend, you saw that I went down to the great state of Texas. And the reason for that was this. A.B.A.T.E of Texas, whose legislative coordinator is also Ski, it'd be Ski Dodson down there, along with the Texas Coalition of Clubs and Independents, or Council of Clubs and Independents, work together to do the Texas Biker Lobby Day, or their legislative day. Unique thing about Texas, they only meet once every 2 years and only for 3 months, only 90 days. Whereas Illinois, it's 2 years and 5 to 6 months per year. So it's basically they have to set everything up and then they try to push it through as much as possible using the professional staff down there. So I found that to be very interesting. But some of the issues that Texas is facing are the very same issues that we have either faced here in Illinois or may possibly face in the future. And then there's issues that Texas has faced that we've already taken care of. Texas is pushing for a red dead law. Here in Illinois, thanks to the work of ABATE of Illinois, we already have that. That if a light does not turn red or does not change from red to green within 120 seconds after you have stopped, you have the ability to proceed through the intersection. That is something that Texas does not have that we do. Other things going on in Texas. In the state of Texas, if you don't use your turn signal, the police can arrest you. Now, typically they don't, but it tends to be if you're riding a motorcycle and maybe wearing a vest, you might find that you're going to do a night in jail. Turn signals are an arrestable offense because of the class of misdemeanor they are. So that was kind of interesting to hear about and deal with. They're working on a bill to fix that. The bill is partially being pushed not only by the motorcycle groups, but also some of the civil rights groups down there, because there was a lady by the name of Sandra Bland who died while in custody after being arrested after a traffic stop. So that was interesting to hear about. A lot of what you saw me talk about over the weekend or try to cover over the weekend was the issue of profiling. Down in Texas, it is huge. They have this massive list done by the Department of Public Service, which is also their state police or partially their state police, called a gang list. And heck, if anybody can tell you what lands you on that list, just about anybody can put you on that list, including high schools can put students on it. There was a gentleman that we talked to, Willie. If you saw the interview that I did with him over the weekend, he got put on it because he attended a funeral. There were pictures from the funeral. His picture got put out. He's from New Mexico. 25-year veteran from New Mexico, doesn't even reside in the state of Texas, but he was on the Texas gang list. He's considered a gang member. And what that leads to is that if he were to be stopped for a minor crime, a misdemeanor or whatnot, it could potentially be escalated instantly to a felony because he's magically on this list that he doesn't have any ability to get off of. And we've seen something similar in Illinois. They use the FBI gang list, which if you want an idea as to how humorous the FBI gang list is, fans of the rap group Insane Clown Posse, known as Juggalos, people that like to dress up as clowns, are on this gang list. The ACLU got involved with that a couple years ago, but there's no way to get off of it. They're trying to sue to get off of it. They're still working on that. But this is how ridiculous things can get when you use these kinds of lists. And the Texas Coalition of Clubs and Independents has a very interesting take on it that I enjoy. It's not that they want to do away completely with the list. They understand there may be a purpose for needing to know known habitual criminals. Their issue is in reforming the list and making it work better. And I think that's something that we need to keep an eye on here in Illinois as well. Because there's a potential that a similar list gets used against us. It was only a couple years ago that the city of Chicago was forced to get rid of their own list that was similar to this. In the state of California, they found out they had several hundred children under the age of 5 were magically on this gang list type stuff. So that's something that we're looking at. And then the other thing that's happening in Texas, and this was the coolest thing to see while I was down there. It's not an ABATE thing. It's not a club thing. It's not an independent thing. It's not a sport bike thing, not a cruiser thing. It is everybody. Everybody in Texas is united and pulling together and working together. The Coalition of Clubs and Independents has brought together a lot of the clubs, a lot of the independent riders. Texas ABATE has brought together a lot of their ABATE members, and they are all working together to pull in the same direction for motorcyclist rights in Texas. Now, that is something that we could use more of here in Illinois. So, if you're watching this and you're a member of a club or you're an independent or you're thinking, gee, do I really want to get involved in this kind of stuff? The answer is yes, because I have seen what happens when everybody gets united and gets on the same page, and it really is a sight to behold. So, hats off to the Texas COCI and to Texas A.B.A.T.E for putting that together. I'm going to show just a real quick picture to give you an idea of the scope of what's happening in Texas. So this was a picture that I put up when I was coming back, when we were coming back on the airplane. And just real quick, I'm going to tell you who all is in this picture, at least where they represent. So immediately to my left, the short, bald fellow that you see there, that is Patrick Wood, also known as Woody. He is a member of POTAS A.B.A.T.E right here in Illinois. And he went down with me because he is originally from down there in Texas, and he is very familiar with that event. So he served a great purpose for us being down there. But also in this picture, directly over my shoulder, the gentleman in the hat, you've seen him before on one of our A.B.A.T.E lives. That's Humper Jeff out of California. His riding partner there next to him, also out of California. Directly behind me in the denim is Irish out of Pennsylvania. And then in the back are two friends from New York. You've got Chris and you've got Jim back there. This is the out-of-state crew. The only person not pictured here, two people, was Willie out of New Mexico, and then the MRF lobbyist, Rocky Fox, was here from Washington, D.C. But you've got California, Pennsylvania, Illinois, New York, New Mexico, and D.C. all paying attention to what's going on there in the state of Texas. So I found that to be very important to show not only are the clubs united, the independents united, and A.B.A.T.E united all together, including sport bike riders, women's clubs, the whole nine, but they've attracted attention from out of state. In fact, the guys from New York were there for their third time. So that means they've now done this for 4 years. They did it in 2017, 2019, 2021. And I can guarantee you we're going to be back in 2023 for this. So I thought that was kind of unique, kind of interesting, and something that we should all see. The other thing that I learned from the great state of Texas is the issue of partisan politics. Everybody, we use our social media to post what we're feeling, what we want to talk about, right? Well, in Texas, the professional staff is who actually runs the show. And in Texas, the professional staff, the first thing they do when you ask for a meeting is they check your social media. So if you're trying to get a meeting with a representative that may be of the Democratic persuasion and you've got stuff on your social media talking about the demon rats and everything else under the sun, guess what? You may not be successful in getting that meeting. Now, I don't know if professional staff in Illinois has caught on to this trick, but if they have, you might want to take it into consideration when you're posting what you post to social media and you're still trying to do outreach to legislators. Is it fair? I'm not going to get into that particular argument, but if it's what's going on, it's what's going on, and we need to be aware of it. We need to be more cautious about things. Speaking of reaching out to legislators, as you can see over my shoulder here, it says Lobby Day. The A.B.A.T.E of Illinois is going to hold a Lobby Day. It may be an outdoor event. We don't know just yet, but it's going to be April 14th. It is Wednesday, April 14th. It's going to be at the State House Inn right there in Springfield, the same place that we have done this for years. I'm asking for as many members as possible to show up. I am looking at ways to potentially make this an outdoor event to where we can have good social distancing, good airflow, the whole nine. Maybe even make it a street party if the weather is sufficient for us. So keep that in mind. April 14th, it's a little bit out there, but it will get out, sooner than expected. It'll come up on us sooner rather than later. So with all of that said, Jill, I see your message. You enjoy that we went all the way down to Texas. We enjoyed our time down there, had great hosts down there, learned a lot of things. You know, hopefully we're going to make A.B.A.T.E of Illinois stronger based on what we saw down in Texas. So, with that said, that is this week in A.B.A.T.E. The last thing that I've got is last week somebody sent in a question. They wanted to know what is going on with the trailer plates. TA plates went up from $18 to $118, an over 500% increase. This was last year that they went up, courtesy of legislation that was passed back in 2019. We are still working on this issue, but you have a state that is the state, is broke. They're looking at what they need to do for revenue. This would be a $22 million hit, as far as we know. So it could be a potential issue in getting that sorted out, but we're working on it. I hope that we're going to have legislation again this year on it. I hope that's a serious discussion because this has hit a lot of nonprofits, Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, different camps and whatnot with their canoes. This has hit a lot of people who just use a small trailer to haul around, like a lawn tractor or whatever other small equipment. This also affects the trailers that pull behind a motorcycle. So we are working on this. That's all I can really say at this point. We'll keep on it. We'll keep working with it. Other than that, ladies and gentlemen, this has been This Week in A.B.A.T.E. We will do this again on Tuesday next week at 7 o'clock. The videos are also available right here on our Facebook, facebook.com, ABATE4IL. And they will also be available on our YouTube channel as soon as I can get it processed and put over there. So with that said, everybody have a good evening and look forward to seeing you next week.